Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Now, throughout the history of our videos here together, I've always tried to keep them gender-friendly by saying just switch he for she. But let me tell you, in light of this recent attack by this female psychopath and the research I've been doing, I will tell you, I don't know that you can switch out male for female or vice versa. I think the female narcissist or psychopath or borderline personality disordered individual or sociopath, I think they're quite unique amongst themselves. So very similar to the men. Today we're going to explore those differences. I think one thing that makes the female, pardon me, still the scratchy throat, female psychopath or cluster B, regardless of what category this fiend is falling into, they tend to prey more heavily using sexual vampirism. I mean, this is very, very typical of them, where when a male narcissist is targeting a female, the male narcissist tends to be more willing to proceed with a courtship, knowing that a normal, sane, healthy, well-adjusted woman out on a first date is not that likely to just jump in bed with the male narc, regardless of whatever admiration they're pouring on the woman. Women tend to tread a little more carefully this way, where the female narcissist, understanding the power of her sexual vampirism, will very aggressively move towards a sexual relationship, with the understanding that her slimy, creepy tentacles will get hold of this man in a different sort of way. And they tend to be very, very sexually charged for this reason, where the male narcs will proceed with more of a courtship to hook the woman, where the female narc will be much more aggressive sexually. Now, the female psychopath is going to be moving very aggressively, trying to engage you in sexual activity with her. Much, much more so than your typical non-crazy woman. So whether you're male or female, this tactic will apply to you. And this is a red flag. So, if you're out on your first date with this woman and she is very, very aggressively trying to have sex with you and saying things like, "Oh, I've never done this before, you're just so fantastic," red flag. Now, both the male and the female narcissist are going to want to present to a target as a victim, as someone who has been victimized their whole life, creating in you this feeling like you're their savior. Now, this tends to compound when it's a female psychopath targeting a man, because she can use a lot of sort of social expectations about a man wanting to be this brave warrior, this champion, the introduction of chivalry on the knight in shining armor pedestal. So they really play on this in a very calculated and manipulative sort of way, much, much more so than a male narc, who is definitely doing it. I mean, they're definitely doing it. But the female narcissist tends to have a few more weapons at her disposal, really elevating a male target to this position of knight in shining armor. And what decent man doesn't want to be that, Now, another thing that's quite unique for a female narcissist, whether she's targeting a male or a female, is just all those girly trappings. The high heels, the stockings, thong underpants, girdles, push-up bras, fake eyelashes, false fingernails, hairdos, all these kinds of things that, allow them to paint a prettier mask. And it much more so than a male narc, where now this female psychopath can really pretty up her fake illusion, her mask, to hide that ugly demon that's hiding under there. Now, if the male narcissist does not have a lot of successes in their past, they will avoid talking about their past. And this is where the female narcissist or psychopath is quite different. They could have an absolute, well-documented, well-publicized history of absolute debauchery in their past. I mean, it can be absolutely deplorable. But their sense of self-importance is so unwavering. It really is quite sensational compared to the men. In fact, there can be mountains and mountains of evidence of a truly failed life, but they will still have such a grandiose sense of self that it can be pretty fucking mind-boggling looking on at it. Now, on the topic of money, the male narc is definitely going to target a woman that has money. Now, if you don't have money or you've just got, you know, a lower average paying job, they'll still extract every dime of that out of you. And they will actively diminish, crush your career, rendering you dependent on them. If you don't have money, they don't mind reducing you to a house mouse and trapping you that way, where the female narc is a little bit different that way. They really need to stuff themselves with things, objects, stuff, purchases. They tend to be a little over the top this way. So when a female narc is targeting a victim, whether male or female, money is going to be much, much more at the forefront than with the male narc. So it's very important if you are, well, either male or female, but believe you are involved with female from the cluster B, you want to make sure that they don't have access to your credit cards, checks, debit cards, any of it. Really, really protect your finances from the female narcissist. Now, the female narcissist is typically going to be a woman who has been charging through life, just headbutting her way through life. They tend to be excessively aggressive and very masculine in many ways. And men can find this, and women too, find this kind of attractive. Now, when you consider all the social sort of norms, you know, put on men to be the head of the house, to, you know, be responsible for all the manly things, the home repairs, earning the money. Like when you think of all that pressure that's dumped on men, you know, as part of a kind of social norm, finding a woman that's aggressive and, you know, willing to get in there and work with you can be almost relieving to a man, thinking they found a partner that's going to help carry the weight or help alleviate some of the burden. Well, my friends, the burden has just begun. Now, another thing you may notice with a female narcissist that's a little bit different with a male narcissist. Now, both are going to have strained relationships within their families. You know, they didn't just start pissing people off. They've been pissing people off since way back when, and are quite likely estranged from their children, their siblings, their parents, and these sorts of things. But, again, back to social norms. Women have got that social stigma that they are much more nurturing, much more fostering, much more family orientated. So when they can't drag their family into the relationship with you, they will quite aggressively glom onto yours, wanting to be a stepmother to your children, or a step-grandmother, or the perfect daughter-in-law or sister-in-law, or whatever, you know, your family dimensions are. They tend to really glom onto your family to try and create a fake illusion that they are these loving and nurturing, family-orientated people. And this will happen far more aggressively with a female cluster B, whatever their condition is, than with a man. They, again, tend to amp things up a little bit in this area. Now, one thing that also tends to vary a little between the male narc and the female narc. Now, the male narc, if he's got property or money or investments, and he's starting to get older and can't catch supply as readily, these things will help him. And the female narc, on the other hand, because she has relied so heavily on her sexual cannibalism as they age. And female psychopaths, quite often, more typically than not, do not age well. They seem to almost just break down from their demons, from their soul sickness, from their greed, from their envy. And they've been charging, you know, at life with such great intent to harm. I mean, even more so than the male narc. So their soul sickness tends to be amped up. Their demons tend to have been stronger throughout their lifetime. So this lays quite a physical beating on them, and you'll quite typically see female narcs looking considerably older than they actually are. Now, this will send them into a state of absolute insanity because they know they're losing this trapping. They're losing this ability to trap men sexually. They're losing the ability to find men with money. And this will send them shit show sideways in a way that the world has never seen before. I mean, truly a very dangerous and volatile situation to be in with an older female narc. Now, evidence shows that there is no helping these people, and they get worse with age. Now, the female narc will take that premise, that idea that they become worse with age, and blow this to proportions like you've never seen before. They become absolutely ravenous, absolutely obsessive, driven by absolute insanity as they start to age. So if you are male or female with a female narc, and it's bad now, expect it to get a whole lot worse. To get a little revenge or level the playing field a little bit with your female psychopath, whether she is young or old, new or used. The information I've gathered led me to believe they've been pretty used, but mention other women. Be it your sister, a co-worker, a neighbor lady, a woman that you both know, and start to talk about this woman to your female narc. Say things like, let's call her Mary. Oh, that Mary, she's so sweet, you know, she's always so kind. I think she does a lot of volunteer work. What a lovely woman she is. This will send the female narc, who is absolutely obsessed and consumed by hatred and deep-rooted envy of other women, I mean, to the point of madness. If you do this repeatedly, absolutely you will snap them in half. This will buckle them, incapacitate them, and you might want to do that quite frequently. Now remember to pour it on thick, okay? Oh, that Mary, people just adore her. Look at what a great mother she is. My God, what a wonderful contribution she has made to mankind. Pile it on thick. It'll drive them absolutely fucking bonkers. Always remember, just like the male narcissist, the female narcissist is a dead and empty vessel. They have no capacity to love, no capacity to be empathetic, and quite frequently contribute zero to mankind. They are just as nasty, just as rotten, and in many cases, much, much more so. So for the men here at Kim Wilson TV who have stood by and been great contributing friends here at my channel, guys, I'm sorry, because I do feel like you've been tremendously underrepresented here, and we're going to change that in the future. Peace be with you. Love you guys lots.